Welcome to the latest episode of The Signature Show. I'm Signature's Managing Director, Maggie Boland, and today we have a special episode in store for you, including an interview with Broadway star Judy Kuhn, 2 recreations from past Signature musicals, and much more. Recently, Signature released the second show in our 2021 Signature Features season. Daniel J. Watt's The Jam, Only Child, is not to be missed. The Washington Post called it, quote, funny, intense, vivid, an artful meditation on loneliness, integrity, justice, and inner clarity, unquote. Here's the show's writer and star to tell you a little bit more about it.
Hi, my name is Daniel J. Watts, and I am the creator and lead performer in Daniel J. Watts' The Jam, Only Child, streaming now through May 7th on Marquee TV. The Jam is inspired by my great-grandmother who used to make jam from scratch. You can't make it a jar at a time. You have to make it in bulk. So she would make herself a jar and then give the rest away. So this is me sharing that which I have created. This specific jam, Only Child, is my story, my tales of growing up as a latchkey kid in a single-parent home during the 80s and the 90s, and the things I learned along the way. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll learn something. It could be sweet, might get sticky, but you'll enjoy it just the same. So come join us. Please come join us on the Jam train. And first, here's a quick clip or rather a taste, sample of what the Jam has to offer. All right, let me break it down for you. All right, so one day, I'm at home, I'm in my bedroom, I'm doing my science homework. My mom is in her room on the phone with a coworker, right? So I'm doing my homework, scientific. I come across that word again, flammable. I've seen that word somewhere before, flammable, on the rubber cement, So I go to the drawer in the kitchen to get some rubber cement. Everyone has the drawer. The drawer is hard to open, right? Because there's an ink pen lodged at the top because it's chock full of crap, right? You get your finger in there to get it out the way, and then you open the drawer and there's ink pens fly all over the place, and then highlighters and brown paper bags and birthday candles and Chinese food menus and chopsticks, soy sauce, duck sauce, mad packets of crappy ketchup. One packet of really good ketchup you've been saving for a rainy day. There's also a Ziploc bag full of something your mom's collecting, like bottle caps or Kool-Aid points you're never gonna cash in, right? There's also a lighter and rubber cement. I take my findings and I go to the bathroom. Right? Get in there, close the door, lock it, because I need some privacy. Now, rubber cement. Rubber cement it's got a jar. You open the jar, the lid, and there's like a stick and then a little brush, right? To apply the glue. My plan was to light the tip of that and then put it out. That was it. That's the plan. So here we go, right? Open the jar, you get in here and it's like, See, rubber cement is real gooey, right? You got to get in there and it's like, it doesn't know how to let go, right? Holds on too long. Rubber cement needs therapy, right? You do this, yeah, great, perfect. Now, fumes all over the place. Now, again, I was gonna light the tip and put it out. I get a paper towel handy.
Just in case.
Just in case there's a little messy cleanup, but this is dumb logic because it is also what?
Flammable.
Yeah, it is. So again, here we go. I'm gonna light the tip and put it out. I light the lighter. The flame jumps. Fire. No, this is not what I wanted. I was looking for this, right? So the flame followed the fumes and then landed on the lid where I had just conducted Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, right? So now the rim is on doing this and I'm like, calm down, everybody chill. I'm good, we got this. I'm just gonna put this in the sink, turn on the water, everything will be fine. I put it in the sink, I turn on the water. Batman, rude boy, Benny man and them goddamn sugar. A Jamaican festival comes flying out. It's fire, water, glue. That paper towel goes up in flames. It was like, I told you I was flammable. It's gone. Now I'm like, okay, I'm thinking I need more water. So I take the jar and put it in the tub. I put it in the tub, turn on the water. Same thing. It was as if Captain Planet's evil twin brother showed up. Fire, water, glue, ignorance. When your dumbness combines, you make a mess. So now the bathroom is flickering like a discotheque. I'm stressed. I need a timeout. 20 seconds. Right. So at the time, my mom was going through a diet caffeine-free Pepsi kick. You know, the Pepsi with the gold fronts, right? So she was going through that, and we would go through a 2-liter, and anytime we would finish it, we would fill it up with water,
And then there was a bunch of them lined up in the hallway in case of an emergency. This was an emergency. I needed more water. Oh. Glove, 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 glove. Woo! Glove, 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 water, water, water. No! Nothing was working. I make one last ditch effort to go get more water. I turn. And standing in the doorway is my mother on the phone. Cool as a cucumber. Yeah, girl. I might not be able to make it to that workshop next week. I think I gotta bury my son. And then she walks away. Bathroom's doing this, and she walks away. And that's when I realized, this is how I die. It's a shame what happened to that white boy up the street.
3 doors down.
3 doors down. You heard what he was doing?
What was he doing?
Playing with fire.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Burn that whole house down.
That's a mess.
And she just got the towels redone.
I like the towels.
I love a monogram towel.
Me too.
So I'm sitting in the bathroom, right? I'm on the ground saying my prayers. God is great. God is good. Because I'm cooking, right? Then my mom comes back. She comes back, still on the phone, mind you, but she's brought with her Morton's salt. You know the salt with the little girl with the raincoat and the umbrella, right? And the little girl looks out and goes, God, leave you in trouble, right? So then my mom, still on the phone, mind you, she takes the salt, starts sprinkling it, putting out all the fire. She looks at me, rolls her eyes, pops me upside the back of the head, and goes back to her bedroom and finishes our conversation like nothing ever happened. And that's when I realized, when I grow up, bump being a superhero, I want to be like my mama.
Hi, I'm Matthew Gardner, Signature Theater's Associate Artistic Director. Recently, I got to sit down with Broadway star Judy Kuhn to talk about her childhood in DC, her amazing career, including the time she spent working at Signature Theater, as well as her views on return to live performance. Hey, welcome to the Signature Show.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me.
I want to start at the beginning.
Oh, that was so long ago.
So maybe a few weeks ago, I got to sit down with Chita Rivera and talk to her. And one thing you both have in common is that you both were born and raised here in the Washington, D.C. area. So I asked her this question, and I want to know what your answer is. Being raised in this political town, how did you find your love for the arts?
Well, you know, it's interesting you asked that question because my father was very much he was a civil rights lawyer, very politically active. And my mother was a musician and played the clarinet. And my father also, they loved music, they loved the arts. So when I was a kid, not only did they take me to marches, but they also took me to the theater and to concerts. And you know, both of those things were very formative. And I think that's why I am who I am. And, you know, my love has always been for the performing arts, but also, you know, being politically engaged and active. And I felt like my parents gave me the opportunity to kind of be engaged with everything that was going on there.
I definitely grew up listening to cast recordings. Like that's my in terms of theater. Growing up hearing your voice singing and Florence and Jess, and like the list is endless. And theater is so ephemeral. But what is not ephemeral are these cast recordings. And you know, those live with us forever. And while I never got to see you on stage as Cosette or Florence, you will always be that person in my mind, and my relationship to you is through your voice. What is it like to have your performance, at least vocally, sort of like there forever on a recording, on an original Broadway cast album?
Well, it's incredibly special because, as you say, you know, theater is ephemeral. It's one of the things I love about it is that it's alive, and it is a wonderful thing to have that record of your performance forever. I mean, I always find that if I listen to a cast recording, which I rarely do, I find them hard to listen to because they don't really match the experience that I had doing it live, just from my own perspective. Beyond what means to me, it's so important for shows. There are shows that I did that would never have been done again if not for the cast album.
Looking back on your career so far, and there's hope, there's still a long way to go, but like looking back so far.
I mean, right now I feel like I'm retired, but
is there a show that feels like that this had the most impact on me?
Most impactful in sort of multiple ways, I would probably say Fun Home. I had never been involved in a show from such an early stage of its development, so I felt so involved in the creation of it. And then there was the fact that it was so good, that it developed into something so special and unique, and that it had such an impact on audiences. And also that it kind of, going back to the two things that I grew up with, which was political activism and the arts, the performing arts, it really was a show that both of those things came together.
You also created two roles at Signature,
Yes.
The Highest Yellow with Michael Conley, as well as Sycamore Trees with Ricky and Gordon. And I wanted to take a second to talk about Sycamore Trees, which, had that amazing company of Mark Kudish, Jessica Molaski, directed by Tina Landau. Is there anything about that experience that stands out to you?
We were playing a family. And there's something wonderful, because casts always become a family, you hope. And to be a family on stage with all its complications, there's something very rich about that experience.
Signature, of course, loves its Stephen Sondheim. You were in the midst of rehearsals for Assassins, a classic stage company, when the whole world shut down.
That's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
The production didn't get shut down. We're on hiatus, and when it's safe to open, that will be the production that will reopen Classic Stage. So people who have their tickets in hand know that they can use them someday.
I was lucky enough to see you twice play the role of Fosca, both at the Kennedy Center as well as at Classic Stage Company. What is it that you love about Fosca?
I have a lot of compassion for her, and so much of the way she is also about how women are misunderstood and miscategorized and put into boxes that aren't always appropriate for them. And particularly, if you understand her in the context of 19th century Italy, when women were supposed to be a certain way and she wasn't, she becomes a figure that I think one can really empathize with. A friend of mine said she's like Hamlet for women in a way. It's like people will always talk about this person's Fosca versus that person's Fosca, and you can do the role many times and constantly be finding new things, and I'd do it again tomorrow if somebody allowed me to.
Are there other Sondheim roles that you're like, oh, that's on the list?
Well, I always wanted to play Dot in Sunday in the Park, but that ship has probably sailed. I would love to play Desiree.
What about Sally?
I'd love to play Sally.
I think you'd be an Sally. Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about, we've had you at Signature to teach masterclass for our Overture students, and I just found your class with them to be so refreshing and awesome. Do you enjoy teaching?
I can just remember the teachers when I was young, people I both worked with and who were my teachers who had such a big impact on me. And I love giving back to students at that age.
In this moment, a lot of particularly young artists are disheartened and losing sort of hope in the moment that we're in. And I guess I'm wondering, do you have any advice for those artists in this moment?
Listen, this pandemic has been devastating to the arts, especially the lively arts. And I think about young people who were just coming to New York who are making their Broadway debut, who are about to, like, things were about to happen for them, who maybe don't have the financial resources to stick it out. And I fear that we're going to lose a lot of those young artists. That's heartbreaking to me. But on the other hand, I feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like, and I'm hopeful that when we all get back to business, there's going to be a rethinking of the way we do that business. How do we make the theater more inclusive? How do we make it more affordable? How can we subsidize artists? I mean, New York City is nothing without its artists.
Yeah.
And if they can't afford to be here, then we have to do something about that.
I would add that I think no city, no anywhere is anything without the arts, right? Like
I totally agree. Totally agree.
The artist needs to be lifted up and infused into all parts of society. So
right. I think that there is a bit of a reckoning amongst our elected officials who are realizing that the arts aren't just a luxury for the elite and just something people do. The people are in it they're like hobbyists and they do it because they love it. But that it's actually an economic driver, that it's a huge part of our economy. And there's a lot of dollars and cents attached to it. And I think they're waking up to that and realizing that there is no economic comeback in our country unless we support the arts. This was a wake-up call in that way. So we'll see.
I'm so thankful to you for joining me today. And I can't wait to be right there with my ticket to see Classic Stage Company's production in Athens when
I can't wait for that too. Back up. Me too.
In 2010, Signature Theater produced a revival of Chess, which Judy Kuhn originally starred in on Broadway. Our production featured Ewan Morton, Jeremy Kushner, Jill Pace, and Alicia Gamble. Here to recreate one of the hit songs from that show are Jill and Alicia.
Nothing is so good it lasts eternally. Perfect situations must go wrong, but this has never yet prevented me wanting far too much for far too long. Looking back, I could have played it differently. Learned a little more before I fell, but it took time to understand the man. Now at least I know him well. Wasn't it good? Wasn't he fine? Isn't it madness? He won't be mine. But in the end, he needs a little bit more than me. More secure. He needs his fantasy and freedom. I know him so well. No one in your life is with you constantly. No one is completely on your side. And though I move my world to be with him, still the gap between us is too wide. Looking back, I should have played it differently. One a few more moments, who can tell? But I was ever so much younger then. Now at least I know him well. Wasn't it good? Wasn't he fine? Isn't it madness? He won't be mine. Didn't I know how it would go if I knew from the start? Why am I
I'm Tina Worden, and I am a Signature fan. I've been enjoying Signature Productions for just over a decade, starting with Sondheim's Sweeney Todd. While I love the classics, I also enjoy and get excited about new work. One favorite is Girlfriend, a vibrant coming-of-age musical by Todd Almond and Matthew Sweet. So, here to recreate the title number are the show's stars, Jimmy Mavrikis and Lucas James Miller, along with the amazing Girlfriend Band.
Don't you need to get back in the arms of a good friend? Oh, 'cause honey, believe me, I'd sure love to call you my girlfriend. Oh, girlfriend. Oh, 'cause honey, believe me, I'd sure love to call you my girlfriend. All right. Come on. 'Cause you got a good thing going, baby. You only need somebody to love. You got a good thing going. You're only looking for someone to love. 'Cause you need to get back in the arms of a good friend. Drum solo. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Here we go. And I'm never gonna set you free. No, I'm never gonna set you free.
Thanks, Jimmy, Lucas, Britt, Erica, Beth, and Nicole. We can't wait to have you back in our space to experience stories like Girlfriend again. There's a lot to announce soon about our plans to reopen, and we can't wait for the day when we'll welcome you all back into our building. In the coming months, though, we will continue to share our art through filmed productions. We have 2 musicals coming to your living room very soon. At the end of April, we will release Mark Sonnenblick's beautiful love story, Midnight at the Neverget. And in mid-June, we'll release After Midnight, featuring the music of Duke Ellington and the poetry of Langston Hughes. That production stars Hamilton's Christopher Jackson alongside Nova Y. Payton. Tickets are on sale now for all of our Signature Features projects. You can still subscribe to the whole season or buy tickets to individual filmed productions. As the days pass, we are beginning to see a light at the end of the tunnel as we imagine a world where we are once again sharing stories and music in Signature's Max and Arc theaters. To end this episode, we'd like to leave you with a message of hope from Signature favorite Robbie Schaefer.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, long, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright. It's alright.